Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Culture W. Today I played as Sweden, Christina. Her abilities are the Minerva of the North, which is probably her best ability. Um, Wonders with Great Work slots, and buildings with 3 or more Great Work slots are automatically themed as long as you put the same type of Great Work in them. And then she also gets the Queen's Bibliothèque in the Government Plaza, which is a building that has 2 slots each for writing, music, and art. She also gets bonuses to Diplomatic Favor, Great People Points, and the Open Air Museum, which is a fun little mini game as Sweden. If you can settle a city on each different type of terrain: snow, tundra, desert, plains, or grassland. But you know what? I didn't get a snow city this game. That's kind of unfortunate. But open air museums are really strong. They're so strong, in fact, that it's not really much of a nerf to only be able to have one per city. So um, all of my open air museums are going to be 8 culture, which means they're generating 8 tourism after you get flight. So Sweden is a pretty uh, good culture civilization. They are able to get tourism earlier than other run-of-the-mill um, culture civs, and it's mostly because of that open-air museum. That improvement allows them to, after researching flight, instantaneously get a good deal of tourism before you really get all of your buildings stocked with great works. The early theming can also help if you can get the early game culture wonders, like the Apadana and the Great Library, which I was able to get both of those this game. So this was a pretty good playthrough. It was also my first playthrough with the Heroes game mode. And this game I got Hercules. I think Hercules is one of the best ones. I also played with Hunahpu and Zablanke, which actually materialized an entire army for me in the very early game because they capture land units. So I took out like 3 barb camps with her and uh, with them and made a army out of nothing. Also got she's around here somewhere. This one, Anansi, which is consumes the luxury resources. But I pretty much just got her for, or him for, the ability to make relics. So when they die, they drop a relic. I've got quite a few of those this game. Here's my Hercules relics. Here's my hero twins, the Mayan one, and then when he dies, I'll also get another one. Oh, I also got Sun Wukong this game, who was very strong for allowing me to meet everybody. Sometimes in tourism games, you have a hard time meeting everybody. So that's why sometimes religion plays well with tourism games, because your religious units will be able to go through people's borders, and even if in a situation kind of like this, um, the city-state border that I'm not suzerain of is cutting off this continent. So if I hadn't had shipbuilding unlocked, I wouldn't have had a way to get over here without, and religious units would have been able to do that. So examples like that come up all the time, and so it's sort of important to get um, a method that you can meet all of the civilizations with, because you can't generate tourism pressure against them if you haven't met them. So I picked the idea for the strategy for this game, again, came from Reddit. I like just seeing crazy strategies on Reddit and um, seeing what I can Replicate, and that was based around the Minerva of the North ability and the Heroes mode and reliquaries. So you take reliquaries for your religion, you get those hero relics, and then you can theme city centers if you have the old god obelisk for the Void Singers, but then you have the 2 extra hero relic slots. So, and I actually didn't get far enough into the game where I can purchase cultists, which you're supposed to be able to get 2 hero relics and then a cultist relic and get a themed city center with reliquaries. And you would theoretically be able to do that in as many cities as you recruited heroes in. Unfortunately, I didn't really get to play that out because the indoctrination promotion on um, the Void Singers doesn't come until the Industrial Era. I'm still a little bit off from that. 10 to 20 turns. Well, maybe it comes available in the Renaissance. Anyway, Christina can be really strong for early culture game victories, and it went very well for me this game. So the way that it played was I actually spawned on this tile, and I found coffee right here. So I moved over and settled on the coffee for some early game culture. Got a scout. My build order was scout, and then a monument. And then I plugged Pingala in and tried to get my capital up as tall as possible. Somehow I was able to get the settler pantheon. And I guess it's because none of the civs in my game have any bonuses towards faith. And because I settled on this coffee, I was able to get Code of Laws faster, which allowed me to plug in God King faster. And that's how I got to the Pantheon first. So sometimes you just luck out on early game Pantheons, and that's sort of what happened this game. After the monument, I went a settler and doubled with my Pantheon. I settled these 3 cities in a triangle with this entire government plaza matrix planned out from the very beginning. And then I hunkered down and tried to get these wonders out. I had assigned this is my settler city, this is my Pingala city, and this is my support the other 2 Endeavor cities. So I was making builders out of here early game to be able to chop out wonders and settlers. Although I tried to make the best use of Magnus and moving him in here to chop out the Great Library and the Oracle, and then move him over here to chop out settlers. So I actually got like 5 settlers in 10 turns over here from getting the Government Plaza, the Ancestral Hall, and then having the settler card plugged in, and you can chop out a 6 or 8 turn settler with 1 chop doing that. So, and there were several chops in here that I was able to chop out those settlers with. At that point, I was already making a lot of faith, and I was able to plug in Monumentality, and the rest of my settlers were bought with faith in this city because of the provision promotion. It actually took me a while to figure out how I could get the best adjacency on these districts in here. But I think I did a pretty good job because this campus is not next to a mountain or a rainforest or geothermal fissure, and it's still +3. And to me, that means you did a pretty good job. So I could have put that campus, you know, next to a mountain or whatever, but I knew that it would be able to get this great library down next to it and boost 2 theater squares. And I would also have the Apadana here, so that's boosting this one up pretty high. This city's theater square is here between the Oracle and the Great Library, which is fully stocked with great works. In a minute I'll get the Bolshoi Theater, and that'll be even more. I also have an entertainment complex here, so this one's kind of nutty. I'm getting Roar Valley right here, so that'll become a +6. But I knew when I saw this river matrix that I could get this flatland river matrix. I could get a lot of good districts down in here. So +5 industrial zone ain't nothing to sneeze at. There's no floodplains in here to really take advantage of, so you just kind of have to do the best you can here. So, when I rocked up to this side of my little start position, there was a camp here, Ivory, and then I saw this ring of mountains, and it was a perfect spot to make a lattice of holy sites and campuses. And so that's what I did here. Then put some theater squares on the inside to get buffed by the adjacent districts. So that worked out pretty good. I have a couple of good holy sites also over here. Picking the Void Singers means that after you get, for coastal cities, the harbor first, so we can get some housing, you would go for the holy site, so you can get the faith, you get the free yields. So this city's floodplains flooded so many times that it's so tall. It is as tall as my other cities, my oldest cities, even though it was settled much later. So this is my Petra city, of which I'm very proud. I sort of wanted to settle over here to be able to grab more hills. I think he had already claimed this tile by that point, and this loyalty was so bad over here. He hadn't settled that city yet, but loyalty was really bad, so there was nothing really I could do to get this city down. But this one is just about as good as I could ask for out of this desert. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hills. And this is from the Terra Mirabilis mod. And I get major adjacency from Oases. So that's how this is a +4. Adjacent to the Wanderer and adjacent to the Oasis. Which is a pretty cool thing. Nazca is also in my game. I do love Nazca. You can buff your tiles up extremely. The Natural Wonder tiles are really good. So and then I got to play the fun little mini game of settling on different types of terrain. Here's a grassland city. Here's a plain city. And I settled the Petra city for desert. And then I wanted a snow city. So I came down here and settled these cities in the snow. In the tundra. I guess I might be able to get up to +10 on my open air museums if I was able to settle a snow city, which I don't think there's very much snow on this map except down here. And I imagine I could have settled maybe here. So that would have been an option, but I did not realize that you can do that and get the buff. So the Aya Jafakul is here. That means this city was settled very recently, and it's already very tall, but it's just on account of these tiles are so ridiculous. Aya Jafakul is just a nuts natural wonder. It gives you food for specialty districts that you place on tundra tiles as well. So this city's likely getting some food from that aqueduct. Pretty interesting. I got a +4 theater square in here. There's no way to get housing, that's why it has a neighborhood. So I think that's pretty much it. I'd like to look at my great people points. I imagine I'm making quite a few. My engineer points was pretty not that great this game. I kind of got the industrial zones down and didn't build any of the buildings in them. The workshop takes a really long time to pay off, and opportunity cost there is pretty low. So unless I'm really shooting for great engineer points, or I really need to get the productivity of a few cities up, I will build the workshops. And then obviously once you get industrialization, you do need to build the factories, workshops, so you can get to factories. So, scientist points, I'm making 23 in a culture game, and I think I only have 3 campuses. So that's pretty good. Most of that comes from Pingala's promotion. All of the buildings in this campus, the Great Library, all of that's getting doubled by the Oracle and Pingala. So that sort of makes sense. And these three, a campus, the Oracle, and the Great Library, will pretty much ensure that you'll make more Great Scientist points than anybody else um, for the majority of the mid game. Unless it's an insane science civ like everyone's thinking of Korea. So I got several great scientists this game. I also could get extra great people points from universities. So making 33 writer points, 21 artist points, and 13 musician points, which isn't too bad. It was a largely peaceful game. I never had to declare war on anybody, but I reckon I would have been able to fend it off pretty well, especially from Persia. This is an extremely defensible position. An encampment here and an encampment here would likely stop uh, any advance. So I had a sad moment when this tile was claimed by Johannesburg, because this is a plus 5, 6 campus. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah. Plus 6 campus that I missed out on. It really is too bad. I won with under 100 tourists, I believe. Yes. And I'm making almost 1,500 culture per turn, which is insane. And it's mostly from those theming, the theming ability. Yeah. Here's an example of a themed city center. That city kind of won me the game. So yeah, that is kind of broken. Let's see what's in that city center. Gothenburg. Yeah, so I've got 2 heroic relics and a great work of writing. And that is just ballin' hard. 96 tourism. And I got this very early. Jeez. Yeah, so this is actually a more broken strategy than I thought. I imagined that I could win way faster than I did here if I had focused on getting more heroes earlier. Because I met a lot of them earlier because of getting the Mayan twins and getting a large army and searching the entire world. So I had pretty much revealed all of this land um, up to Scotland's borders from having that army. And I had a heavy chariot that made it all the way up here before he died. So, and then Sun Wukong did this. He went all the way through Persia and down and settled these two, helped me settle these 2 cities. And then he went up here and died to this free city right here. So I used Hercules to build these 2 districts. This was a 4 population city. So I literally plopped the campus down, instantly built it, and on the next turn plopped the holy site down and instantly built it, which is a plus 4 and a plus 5 yields campus and holy site. So that's kind of nuts. I knew when I got this start and there were mountains around that this was going to be a pretty good game. And I also really like this government plaza lattice. I almost regret not putting that commercial hub here, just so I could have the government plaza entirely surrounded by districts. But you don't always get what you want, so. It's taking a really long time to build these wonders because I don't have those crazy industrial zones that you kind of need for those later game wonders. But I knew that I was getting close to Filippo Brunelleschi. So, and I probably would have built the Bolshoi with that over the Ruhr. The Ruhr is a really good wonder, but I can theme the Bolshoi Theater as Sweden, so you can't really argue with that. You pretty much don't have to worry about theming at all. This is all the same artist, and it's themed with 24 tourism. This Apadana is themed, and it has been themed this whole game. I guess this right here, that kind of won me the game. It's sort of broken, I believe. Yeah, so pretty fun game. I probably ought to do this over and see if you can win any faster. Maybe only settle like 3 or 4 cities. Um, Honestly, it'd probably make a good one city challenge. Culture victory early game as Sweden using this strategy. Um, Open air museums wouldn't be that great, and a lot of my tourism, I believe, is coming from that. Yeah, because every one of my open air museums is going to be 8. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 in the snow. So 14 times 8, um, 112, something like that. 112 tourism. So this was a pretty fun game. I'm gonna have another video out here shortly, I think. It's on one of my other playthroughs. Um, so look forward to that. But thanks for watching.